So this is my third video on responsible government, and it's probably going to be the shortest of the three. It's talking about some current issues in responsible government, and let's face it, whether we like it or not, minority governments are probably here to stay for a while. Some people say that's good, some people don't. But when we have a minority government, must understand how minority government works. And one thing that happens in minority governments is that there's always some jockeying taking place. There's always threats to bring down the government. This is perfectly natural. I know many people say, well, the opposition isn't cooperating with the government, therefore they're not being reasonable and Parliament's dysfunctional. It means Parliament's functioning great, thank you very much. So in essence, the opposition were elected by the same amount of people that the government elected. Each individual members, plus about 75,000 people, plus or minus 30%. And each MP have one vote in the Commons. The argument that the government isn't functioning correctly or that coalition governments are undemocratic stems from the presidential system, stems from the system we have in the US, where the president's elected for a term. Our prime minister is not. Our prime minister is the leader of the party most likely to command the confidence of the House of Commons. This usually happens in a general election about once every 3 to 5 years. It cannot be more than 5 years constitutionally. And it happens. So, what is this talk about coalition governments being undemocratic? Well, in essence, it comes from an understanding that the Prime Minister is more than he is. The Prime Minister, constitutionally, is simply the chief advisor in the Privy Council, the cabinet of advisors for the sovereign. He is, as such, the first servant, Prime Minister, Premier, of the Governor General and the Queen in Canada, and he therefore is the de facto spokesperson for government policy. He is responsible, as the rest of the cabinet are, to the House of Commons for operational and policy issues. That's it. He is not a president. He is not the head of state. He is the head of government. We do not elect our prime ministers for terms. In fact, we do not elect our prime ministers at all. Our prime minister is appointed from among the leaders of the parties in the House of Commons to form a government and council advisor and ministry who advises the sovereign or the sovereign's representative, the Governor General, on matters of executive government. And the Governor General in most cases is required to follow because they are the party which most people voted for, and are as such able to command the confidence of the majority of the House of Commons. So that's our system of government. We talk about coalition governments. There's nothing irresponsible about them. There's nothing undemocratic about them. In our system of government, if two parties can team up together to form a government, That's part of our system, that's the rules of the game, and they can do so. Our responsible government, I believe, is currently under threat. And that's not from the current government, but from people misunderstanding what's going on. People have no clue what the rules of the game are, so they don't understand what's going on. So, what's the future of responsible government? Well, in essence, the future of our responsible government ultimately rests with the people. If at some future point Canada should decide to become a republic, we may not have responsible government anymore. If in some future time we decide to elect our prime ministers directly to a term, don't see how responsible government will continue. But for now, responsible government is the way our government operates, and I think we need to understand it better. I think we need teachers in schools, and it's not that complicated. So my next video is probably going to be on parliamentary privilege. There's a lot of talk of that with the contempt of parliament motion against the Conservatives. Keeping threatened, and most people have no clue what they're wrong on. I've heard someone call it contempt of court. And then we'll go from there. I might do some municipal stuff soon, because after all, that is my specialty. But for now, I'm sticking with the feds. I hope everyone have a wonderful week. I probably will post the next video on Thursday, maybe? I'm not sure. Ciao for now.